What's up, everybody? Carolina Jackpot checking in. It is Wednesday morning, October 11th, 2017. Hard to believe that we are halfway through the college football season for most teams. And there are some decent matchups this week. Not a lot of huge games as far as poll implications. There's a couple of rivalry games out there. There are a lot of games on here that seem to be tough to pick spreads on. But we're going to attempt to do just that and see how we do on them. Thursday night, South Alabama is at Troy. The Trojans are a 17-point favorite over South Alabama. I guess you could call this a rivalry game. Really don't know. South Alabama hasn't had a football team for all that long. I'm going to look for the Trojans to cover the spread here. I think that they're starting to pick up some steam. Had a big win, of course, a couple of weeks ago at LSU. That game, that win looks even better now after LSU did go on the road and beat, I think they're ranked number 22 at the time, Florida. Also, a team not having a great year, but still holding it together with a makeshift offense, makeshift defense, really. I look for the Trojans here to win this game by about 24 points. South Alabama just not very good. They've gotten blown out, played some tough competition, but the Trojans get it done at home on Thursday night. Friday night's game, Clemson is on the road at Syracuse. They're 22.5-point favorites. When they've had these big spreads like this, I've been picking the Tigers not to cover the spread, and I've been right on those. However, this week I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say they're going to cover the spread against Syracuse. Syracuse plays on an artificial surface in a dome, of course, and that can be very conducive to very speedy players, such as their running back, Travis Etienne, fresh Louisiana. I look for him to have a huge game against Syracuse. As an improved team, they played a lot better this year than they have the past few years, but I don't think they're, of course, anywhere near the level to challenge Clemson. Kelly Bryant, Clemson's starting quarterback, went down with ankle injury on Saturday against Wake Forest. Heard he was kind of doubtful. Then I heard he practiced Monday. It was kind of day-to-day. So we'll see about that. I would, if I were Dabo Swinney and I was smart, I would keep him on the bench most of that game. I don't think you're going to need him to beat Syracuse. And like I said in one of my previous videos, I think that Dabo could throw Barney Rubble out there as starting quarterback and beat the Orange, to be honest with you. They're just that good skill-wise with everyone around the quarterback. But who knows what they'll do. I hope they give the kid from Indiana, Hunter Johnson, some snaps to see what he can do. He was 5 for 5 passing, threw a touchdown pass against Wake Forest in the time that he was in there. I think that he's their number 2 quarterback now. I think he's supplanted Zarek Cooper. Didn't look very good against Wake Forest when he got his opportunity. I think Tigers are going to flex their muscles on Friday night. They're going to cover the spread, and they're going to show why they deserve to be ranked number 1. My lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels pick of the week is Washington State at Cal. Washington State is a 13-point favorite against the Cal Golden Bears. The Golden Bears are 3-3. However, their 3 wins have come against dumpster fire teams, UNC, Ole Miss, and a nobody. I mean, they haven't won a game in the Pac-12 yet. They're not very good. They were blown out, I think, by Washington, and I don't see them being able to compete with Washington State at home. Mike Leach's team is going to run all over them on Friday night. That could be a 30-point spread, I think. In that game, the Cougars undefeated. Well, they ranked number 9, I think, now. When's the last time they were ranked inside the top 10? It's been forever ago. It's been forever, if ever. I mean, I know the Ryan Leaf years, they went to Rose Bowl one year, but other than that, they've been pretty mediocre, so they're pretty high on that team. Mike Leach has done a fantastic job turning the Washington State program around and putting up a lot of points, and I look for them to roll in Berkeley against the Golden Bears. South Carolina, Tennessee, game that's near and dear to my heart. Gamecocks last Saturday, 3 scores on defense in a 48-22 drubbing of the Arkansas Razorbacks that really should have been even worse. They haven't gotten the offensive production still that I'd like to see from them. I would really feel a lot better about this game if South Carolina had a bye week last week and maybe beat up on Arkansas the week before. Tennessee had their bye week this past week. So, you know, any kind of nagging injuries that they had should be cleared up. We've got a lot of nagging injuries on the offensive line, especially at South Carolina. The offensive line was mediocre as the season's beginning. You know, if you'll remember the NC State game, our star tight end, Hayden Hurst, I don't think he caught a pass in that game, basically because they had him in there kind of as like a sixth offensive lineman to hold off that pass rush at NC State, and it worked. I mean, the game plan worked, and they won the game. But, you know, even with that mediocre offensive line, this one that we've got now it's really bad. Arkansas even got a pass rush on. Jake Bentley had him rattled in the first quarter. They didn't look good, and I actually thought we were going to lose that game at the beginning of it until they straightened up in the second quarter. He hit Hayden for a big touchdown, and things seemed to roll and fall into place after that. They'll have to come out fast against Tennessee. Can't get behind them. I know that you know, Butch Jones has had some problems up there. I honestly do believe this is his last year. I don't think that losing a single game to one particular team is going to do him in. I think, quite honestly, he's probably already done in, and I just don't think that they've got a lot to play for. South Carolina, on the other hand, does have a lot to play for, and that's what I think is going to be the difference in this game. I think the Gamecocks are going to win. It's going to be close. Tennessee's also never beaten Will Muschamp, so you have that to factor in as well. Michigan is at Indiana, 6.5-point favorites on the road against the Hoosiers. I don't think Indiana's very good. They had a good first half against Ohio State, and everybody was starting to get a little bit high on them, but you know, really hadn't done a lot since then. They got blown out by Penn State, and Michigan is smarting from that loss that they took at home last Saturday night to their rival, the Spartans. I think they're going to be full of a little bit of piss and vinegar, and I think they're actually going to flex some offensive muscle against Indiana. It'd be a good team to do it against. I think they're going to cover the spread in Bloomington on Saturday and beat Indiana by more than 6.5 points. Take the Wolverines. Florida State at Duke. If I had another lock, stock, and two smoking barrels, this would be it. I'm going to tell you right now, Florida State, they're going to make a bowl game. They're 1-3 right now. They need to get the 6 wins. There are 6 wins on that schedule. They will get there. Florida State has better athletes than Duke. They're a better program than Duke, and they're going to win. Blue Devils were looking pretty decent at the beginning of the season. They kind of fell off the wagon quickly, starting with a loss at home against Miami on a Friday night a couple weeks ago, which I did predict that one. They got just absolutely bamboozled, 31-6 at home by Mark Richt's team, and then last week they lost on the road at Virginia, which I think could be one of the nation's most improved teams. I think they are at 4-1. The Cavaliers, either the Cavaliers or Georgia, one of the nation's most improved teams this year that I've seen so far. At any rate, Florida State will win this game by more than that one score. I'd look for it to be like a 3-score game. You know, they could have easily won against Miami this past weekend. Took a late drive by Malik Rozier to beat them. So, yeah, at Duke, take Florida State all night long on that one. Eastern Michigan Army, this pick here is kind of, this is one of the ones I'm iffy about. I put it in there just to see what I can do with it. I'm going to pick these Black Knights at home to cover the spread against Eastern Michigan. But Eastern Michigan's tough. They hung in there with Kentucky, you know, 24-20 loss. They've won on the road at Rutgers. I know Rutgers is one of the worst Power 5 teams out there. However, they are a Power 5 team. I don't think that anybody looked for this team to be on the radar at the beginning of the season, but here they are, the Eagles, hanging tough. I think that, however, the Black Knights are going to cover the spread there. I've been impressed with Jeff Monken and his team. I picked them to cover the spread against Ohio State earlier in the year, and they almost did just that. They hung really tough with them there for about 2.5 quarters before they finally fell off. It's due to the fact they don't have the athletes to keep up. But Army's a good football team, and they're going to win that game. Boston College at Louisville are 21.5-point favorites. I'm going to look for the Eagles to actually not cover the spread here against Louisville. I'm going to take the home team, the Cardinals here, and the points. You know, Louisville's still got some firepower. Lamar Jackson put up some pretty good stats this year. He just doesn't have the supporting cast around him that he had last year when he won the Heisman Trophy. You know, they've lost to Clemson, they've lost to North Carolina State, so they're out of the ACC title picture. But they still, you know, they got some stuff to play for there. They can play their way back into a decent bowl game. Boston College looks kind of methodical and slow on defense, and I think that the Louisville Cardinals are going to exploit that in Papa John's Stadium on Saturday night. Lamar Jackson will get on the edge for a lot of yards. I think he'll get his passing game back in gear, and they'll cover the spread against the Boston College Eagles. UNLV is at Air Force. Once again, 7.5-point favorite is all the Falcons are favored by here. Once again, I don't understand that. The UNLV deal, they were like only 9-point underdogs at San Diego State, or at home against San Diego State last week. They're only 7.5-point underdogs here against Air Force. UNLV is not very good. They've lost to Howard. They've got blown out almost everywhere they've been. Air Force has not posted a very good record this year. However, they've been close in a lot of games. They're really close. They had a 3-point game with Navy. They played Michigan pretty tough. I'm going to look for the Air Force Falcons to fly high on Saturday against UNLV and definitely cover the spread by more than 7.5 points. Last one here in part number 1 that I'm going to do. Purdue on the road at Wisconsin. Badgers, 15.5-point favorites. I think they're pretty underrated as far as top 10 teams go, flying under the radar. I didn't pick them to cover the spread this past week on the road at Nebraska, and I should have. They were 21-point winners there, 38-17. Purdue's playing better this year. They've got some decent wins. They walloped SEC Missouri. They won at home against Minnesota, covered the spread against them, and they've done some good things. However, I do not think that they're going to be too competitive with Wisconsin. That team is starting to come into its own and really show why they're in the top 10, why they deserve to be there. I will go on ahead and pick the Badgers here to cover the spread against the Purdue Boilermakers. Make no mistake about it, I think Jeff Brom's Boilermaker team is going to make a bowl this year, and it remains to be seen which one, depending on how they do down the stretch. But they're not winning here, not by any stretch of the imagination. This one won't be close. Take the Badgers and the points all day long. Part number 2 coming up later on today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Appreciate the growth the channel has gotten. I'm well up over 1,200 subs now. Ever since I started doing these college football pick videos at the beginning of the season, I've gained like 300 subscribers. Evidently, some folks enjoy the content, and I certainly enjoy cranking these things out every week. So keep watching and tell your friends. Appreciate it. Peace! And I'm out.